culturally appropriated American chai tea lattes. And to those of you who are wondering what's the difference, let me ask you, what's the difference between Oreos and Creamer Beans? Pop-Tarts and Toaster Tarts. One of those two things is the real deal, and the other is the cheap knockoff version that claims to be the real thing, but everyone knows lacks authenticity. You see, cultural appropriation is kind of like that. It's the off-brand or plagiarism of a culture, taking an aspect of another culture and making it our own. But why is it that cultural appropriation is such a bad thing? After all, when people incorporate aspects of another culture into their daily lives, it means they're just trying to show their appreciation for other cultures and promote diversity. However, too often people's attempts to honor another culture are done without any knowledge about the culture they are trying to honor, taking sacred cultural items and disregarding the cultural value in order to make a fashion statement or personally enrich themselves. Our appreciation for other cultures becomes appropriation when we remain ignorant about the cultures we are trying to honor. And this appropriation disadvantages people of color socially, monetarily, and artistically. So let's first take a look at how cultural appropriation causes social harm by diminishing the significance of cultural items. A common example of this is the appropriation of the bindi, a sacred Hindu marking worn between the eyebrows, which Selena Gomez wore when she danced during the 2013 MTV Movie Awards. To many Hindus, the bindi is an auspicious mark, representing the spiritual third eye, which sees things the physical eyes cannot see. But when wearing the bindi to add to the seductive appeal of her song, Selena was using it in a way contradictory to what the bindi stands for, and contributed to a double standard which South Asian Americans are forced to live with. In the United States, when a Hindu woman wears a bindi, they are considered a fresh off the boat, criticized for not assimilating into Western culture, and made fun of. But when Selena Gomez wears a bindi, the item that stigmatizes so many South Asian women suddenly becomes exotic, trendy, something to compliment when worn on non-Jewish women. And as a Hindu American myself, I personally can attest to this very real feeling of stigmatization. When I was in first grade, I accidentally wore a bindi to school. There was an Indian function the night before, and I forgot to put it off. Back in class, I noticed the other kids were giving me strange looks, pointing at me and whispering. One kid even laughed at my face and called me Five Eyes, but I didn't get the joke. I was confused as to why I was being treated differently than on any other day. It wasn't until one of my friends came up to me and said, "Soumya, I think you're bleeding on your forehead," that I realized that was going to be me. Immediately, I ripped it off and walked out of the classroom, feeling ashamed of my cultural identity. Flash forward to 2018, and the stigmatization I faced in the first grade has only been perpetuated by the issue of appropriation. Just recently, I discovered an article about a group of South Asian women who started the hashtag Reclaim the Bindi to voice their concerns on the appropriation of Hindu culture. One tweet writes, "We used to get made fun of for our Gandhi dots, but now it's a fashionable face tool." And another says, "The kids that made me cry when they made fun of me in ethnic clothes are the same that love wearing bindis now." The stigma that so many South Asian women face is a result of us alienating people of color through the act of appropriation, making them feel ashamed of their cultural identity, while we take selfies with the items they are stigmatized for and turn them into trending Instagram posts. Cultural appropriation doesn't just appreciate the value of sacred cultural items, it also appreciates the value of the people belonging to those cultures. While the social impacts of cultural appropriation are incredibly detrimental to people of color, the monetary impacts have equally adverse effects as they contribute to economic theft. Economic theft is commercializing an aspect of a culture and preventing the originators of that culture from benefiting economically. For example, let's look at the yoga industry. Yoga originates from Hinduism, and in Hinduism, the purpose of yoga is to attain self-realization and to bring oneself closer to God. Yet, as we look at the yoga industry now, with roughly $27 billion, it is clear that the ancient Hindu practice of yoga promotion of expensive yoga classes, and $100 yoga pants. Take a look at these images from some of the most popular yoga magazines in the nation. To me, the images are the epitome of just how commercialized the yoga industry has become. The women depicted in these images could be described as sexy, hot, or physically fit, thus making these the qualities that end up drawing consumers to the practice of yoga rather than its spiritual or religious significance. This commercialization not only reduces the significance of yoga to a flat tummy workout, but does so while taking away the opportunity for South Asians to benefit from what historically belongs to them. According to the Shakti Bar Yoga Studio based in Brooklyn, 77% of yoga instructors in the United States are white. And in New York, roughly 44% make over $75,000 annually. This means that the people benefiting off of ancient Hindu practice are not the originators of that practice. According to Mary Grace Anthony, contributor to the Journal of Communication and Religion, non-Indian yoga instructors often sacrifice incorporating the religious and spiritual aspects of yoga in their teaching in order to appeal to a wider range of students. While yoga instructors make large profits off of modifying an ancient religious practice, the originators of that practice receive virtually no benefits, as it is difficult for a South Asian to teach yoga the right way while competing with large corporations and yoga studios that promote yoga solely as a workout. This economic effect, a byproduct of cultural appropriation, not only takes away the opportunities of people of color, but creates the wrong idea of the impact people of color want their culture to have on society. So at this point, we've talked about how cultural appropriation harms people of color socially and monetarily. But there's one additional way that cultural appropriation disadvantages people of color: by modifying their art and the stories expressed through it. In the theater industry, white directors often appropriate plays through the act of whitewashing or casting white actors in the roles intended for minority actors. Plays written for minority actors are intended to reflect the experiences people of color face, and often explore complex themes such as race, colorism, and diversity. But when a director changes the way a play is supposed to be cast, they also change the original intent of the playwright, thus contributing to a form of appropriation that disregards the complex themes of the original work. An example of this is the appropriation of the musical Once on This Island. At a recent production of this musical I attended, I was shocked to see that the cast was almost entirely made up of white actors, while the original production was intended for an all-black cast. Once on This Island, which takes place in the Caribbean, explores the idea of how colorism contributes to the division between social classes. The story revolves around a dark-skinned peasant girl who lives on the poor side of an island and falls in love with a light-skinned descendant of the French on the wealthy side of her island. As you may have noticed, the theme of colorism, or prejudice against darker skin tones within a certain ethnic group, cannot exactly be conveyed to the audience when actors of white skin tones occupy the entire cast. The message that colorism contributes to class divisions becomes a lost message. And to put it simply, Once on This Island is reduced to a cliche story about a poor girl who falls in love with a rich boy. This appropriation is a classic example of how through whitewashing, directors end up telling a different story than that intended by the playwright. A story that doesn't accurately reflect the experiences people of color face and need to share with the world. So now that we've addressed 3 ways that cultural appropriation disadvantages people of color, it is important that we alleviate this issue. Above all, we must educate ourselves. Whenever we engage in another culture, we must ask ourselves if our intent to do so is done with or without any knowledge about that culture. If the answer to that question is no, or I don't know, do some research. And let us recognize that the best way to show our appreciation for another culture is by talking to people of that culture and learning from them about their cultural practices and beliefs directly. I know I make the solution to cultural appropriation seem like a very simple one, but in reality, the issue is not so black and white. Knowing where to draw the line between cultural appropriation and appreciation is actually quite complex. And it will take a lot of self-education communication, and understanding among people of different cultures in order to differentiate between these two opposites. But what we do know is that cultural appropriation disadvantages people of color. So the next time you walk into a Starbucks and are considering ordering a culturally appropriated chai tea latte,